Okay, so I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and today we're going to be talking about links in posts and why you shouldn't do them, or certainly why you should limit posts on links in posts on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Basically, the algorithms don't like it, and I'll be telling you why. So first of all, what is a link? What do I mean by a link? And again, I'm going to share my screen in a minute, and I'm going to run through and show you some links and what I mean by links. But basically, sharing a link when you write a social media post, it highlights it as blue and it becomes a clickable link. Okay, and this is what you really should limit on your social media posts. Oh, hi. Hello, Ingrid. Thanks for saying hello. Okay, right. So when we're writing our social media posts, we might be thinking, right, I've got a really good blog to share. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to show you exactly what I mean by a link. Okay, just bear with me while I sort this out. Okay, so hopefully now you can see my LinkedIn screen. I'm just going to make it a bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, right. So I've written a post here on LinkedIn, and what I've done is I'm promoting my LinkedIn workshop. So if we click see more, I've written my post as I would normally on LinkedIn, but I've then put a link through that goes straight to the booking. So if people click on this, it opens up my LinkedIn page. It opens up my web page and it's taking people off LinkedIn. Okay, that is basically classed as a link. So if I wanted to basically put a link, send people, it might be to my blog or something like that, any page on my website, if I wanted to take people to the blog page, I can just copy this URL at the top here and then basically create a post as I would, and you can just paste it in. So any of these, if we have a look, we can paste them in to a post. So if I just write a post, as if I'm writing a post, then that would create a link. As you can see, it brings up an image automatically and people can click straight through to that. Okay, and it also brings up the image. But there is an issue with putting links in posts, and basically the main issue is that we are encouraging people to move away from LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. Okay, so there was quite a lot of research done, and I just want to run through a little bit of research. I'm just going to stop my screen sharing in a minute. There's been quite a lot of research that basically tells people why it's really you shouldn't be putting links in. So Hootsuite, for example, I've got some statistics here. Hootsuite did an experiment. They sent out 177 posts on LinkedIn back in 2021. Okay, and 177 had links, and then they only put 7 posts out that didn't have a link. So 177 of those posts were going, read this blog here, see this information, look at this amazing stuff, leave LinkedIn and click on these links. Okay, so the results were that those posts without links, they had 6 times more reach. So they reached a lot more people by not putting links in posts. They had 4 times the amount of reactions, so where you likes, comments, and things like that. So the posts were much more likely to be commented on and reacted on if they didn't have a link on. And they also had 18 more comments as well. Okay. So they did a similar experiment on Twitter as well during 2021. And 5 of their top 8 tweets all had no links in. Okay. None of them had links in. And their linkless tweets, accounted for 75% of Hootsuite's most liked tweets. So Hootsuite found out straight away that engagement dropped if you put links in, and your reach dropped if you were putting links in tweets and LinkedIn. So basically, Facebook is the same as well. So Social Insider did a similar experiment on Facebook and basically found out that posts without links in got double the engagement. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you why this is in a minute. Okay. So basically, if you put in links in posts, it's going to reduce your reach, it's going to reduce your reactions, and it's going to reduce your engagements. And this has been proven to be seen time and time again. But why? That's the question. Because the trouble is we all want to put links in our social media posts to drive people to our website, to drive people to a product we're selling, to drive people to read our blogs. What's the point of reading a blog if we can't direct people to it? But unfortunately, if you put a link to that blog in, it's reducing your reach. And again, there's another link which I'll be showing you at the end of this live stream that you wouldn't even think was a link, which I will show you. But basically, the reason why, one of the reasons is that because if you put a link onto a social media post, you are basically encouraging people to click off and go to a different website. So if you put a post on LinkedIn algorithms, before your post go live, the little robots will scan it. And if it's got a link in, it will reduce the number of people it sends that post to, because you are basically encouraging people to click off and leave LinkedIn. And it's the same with Facebook, the same with Twitter. You're encouraging people to leave their platform, and they want people actively on their platform. If you're not paying for advertising, then they will penalize you and your posts won't go to as many people. But the second reason is that basically we're in sell mode. We're on that social media platform, and the purpose of that post is to get people off that social media platform to read our blog, to buy our stuff. Okay, so we're kind of basically not encouraging interactions with our posts. Okay, we're in that sort of selling mode. We're not necessarily encouraging people to engage with our posts. So it's that sell mode that potentially reduces reach, because people aren't necessarily on those social media platforms to buy. Okay, so that can reduce reach. And the thing is the third reason is, whilst we're in this trying to get people off LinkedIn, Facebook to read our stuff, we're not encouraging engagement. And the one thing that increases the reach of posts, social media posts, is engagement. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. So if you're not getting as much engagement because you're saying to people, oh, read this blog, I've got loads of great tips here. So they read it and go, all right, I'll read that, thanks. Click off it. They're then not liking your post. They're not commenting on your post because they're not on that post anymore. You've sent them to your blog. So you're reducing that engagement on your posts as well. Okay. You're also, if you're writing posts without links, you are consciously providing all that information they need on that one post. So it might be short information, a nice bit of snippet of a top tip or a nice bit of information. And people will be like, oh, that's good. And they'll like it and they'll comment on it. They're getting that information there and then. So you're actually subconsciously promoting more engagement by not putting a link onto your posts. And again, if you've got any questions, please do ask them in the chat, and I'll come back to them at the end of the video. So basically, if you put a link in a post, the algorithms don't like it. You're encouraging people to click through and not engage with your post, which reduces your reach. And you're actually subconsciously basically giving them a hard sell. So people will naturally not respond to that post, and therefore you're massively reducing that reach. Okay, now there is also a number of ways how you can get around these. Okay, which I'll tell you in a minute, but one thing people don't think about when they put a link on a post is basically this is a link, and I'm going to show you, just going to show you something here because I did it this morning for you. So I'm just going to show you, this is a link on a post. Let me just share my screen, that people don't even think about. So we know that a link on a post is a website. We know that a link on a post is, you know, taking you to somewhere where you might be selling your stuff. But this, let me just share my screen. This is a link on a post. Okay, so here, let me just find which screen we're on. So here you can see, I did a post this morning, and people don't realize that this is a link in the post. If I click see more, I've just put an email address in there. That's my email address. People don't realize that an email address is a link on a post on LinkedIn. So people sometimes sign off going, please email us and let us know, email us for more questions and information. Get in touch with me through this email address. This is classed as a link. Okay, as you can see, it's blue, it's underlined. So that's classed as a link. So there are many links that you are creating and you may not realize. So how do we get around this? Well, one, you basically forget your links altogether. Forget about sending people to your website, sending people to your sales pages. That worked about 10 years ago. You got phenomenal web traffic. But how about encouraging people to message you directly on LinkedIn, message you directly on Facebook or Twitter? You're capturing there and then, you're getting their information. So encourage them to message or leave a comment under a post. Okay, if you're interested in this, give us a comment below. It works phenomenally well. And I used this strategy when I was launching the Social Flock. I asked people, do you need help with your content creation on social media? Well, if you're interested, I'm creating this group called the Social Flock to help you with it. Leave us a comment below if you want more information. So then we're encouraging engagement and we're pulling and potentially prospecting for new clients. There are ways of getting around it. You can go into your post and edit it an hour later and put a link in there. When you've got a bit of engagement, I've even added a link in and edited it a day later. If that post is getting lots of engagement and lots of likes, I've then added the link in and edited it and added the link in afterwards. Obviously, we can't do that on Twitter, but we can do that on Facebook and LinkedIn. What people do to try and get around the algorithms initially is to publish the post and then put the comment with a link to that blog they might be referring to or to that product. However, Richard van der Blom, who works for Just Connecting, he actually did a massive experiment. They analysed 5,600 posts and they realised that if you're the first person to comment on your post on LinkedIn, then actually it reduces the reach. So that strategy doesn't necessarily work. But by all means, if people comment under your post, respond with the link onto that. But this is basically why you shouldn't put links in your social media posts, because it reduces reach and it reduces engagement. And basically, the social media platforms don't like it. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do give us a thumbs up. Please do give me some comments and let us know any questions, and I will come back to those, even if you're watching on catch up. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you again next week at 12:30 with lots more hints and tips on social media, which is basically driven by my members in the Social Flock. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.